Okay, so I love the Circuit Rhythm for a lot of reasons. It is small, it's lightweight, it's compact, which is the same thing as small, I guess. It runs on internal battery, and I really enjoy it as just like a grab-and-go sampler that you can take anywhere and make music on the go. But it does have kind of a trick up its sleeve that is not super obvious, and that is it can kind of live loop. And I say kind of because it's quirky, but it works, and I'm gonna just take a second to show you how. This is a quick video. I just wanted to demonstrate this in case you are like in the market for a sampler, but you also want to be able to live loop and you need to be budget conscious. This is cool for that. So anyways, here on the Circuit Rhythm, I have a drum track, sounds like this. And I am only using tracks 1 through 4 for my drums. So that means tracks 5 through 8 are empty. There is nothing on them, and those are the ones that I want to live loop into. So I have my guitar. See my guitar cam here. My guitar is running through the HX Stomp. Big surprise to everyone. And that is running into the Circuit Rhythm, which is just straight in and stereo out to my computer. So I'm going to live loop my guitar into the Circuit Rhythm. First thing I want to do is I want to go to an empty track where there's nothing on it. I want to choose an empty sample, a sample that has nothing on it, and I want to place it right here at the beginning of my pattern. This is a 32-step pattern, so if I press play, you can see that my sample, my empty sample, is at the top there. Here it goes again. And obviously you don't hear anything because it's empty. And the idea behind looping with the Circuit Rhythm is that we record samples into this slot in real time, so it kind of acts like a looper. So in order to do this, let's go into sample record. There's a couple settings we need to check first. Let's make sure that obviously input monitoring is on so we can hear our incoming source. And then resampling is going to be off. There is a pad. I'm not going to use it, but you can if you want to. And then make sure that record threshold is on. And I'm going to come back to this in a second. That's actually kind of important. But the next thing we want to do is we want to scroll down to where we have some empty samples. Now remember, white means that there's already something on there, and red means that they're empty. So we can record into those. We want to choose the sample that we're going to record into, and this sample that we're going to record into has to correspond with the sample we've chosen here. Now I know I'm on sample page 8. You can see here that I'm on page 8, and I've chosen this sample in the top left corner, and I am recording onto that sample in the top left corner on page 8. So before I start, let me just talk about the threshold setting really quick. So in order for this to work, when we press record, we have to start playing, oopsies, we have to start playing right on the one there. It has to be very accurate because that's where we want our sample to start. And this isn't going to like quantize start your recording or anything, so your timing has to be really accurate. So with threshold on, it means that we have to strike our first note right on the one so that we cross that threshold and it starts recording, right? Well, with something like a keyboard or a different instrument, that's not a big deal because it's either off or on. But with a guitar or a microphone, those are noisy inputs, right? You have amp simulation, reverb, delay, accidental noise, hum, and this threshold is set pretty low, and to the best of my knowledge, there is not a way to adjust it. So when I was first trying to figure out how to do this, I was accidentally starting my recording early all the time because I was like constantly crossing that threshold. So what I did to get around this is actually really simple. I just put a tuner pedal in between my HX Stomp and the Circuit Rhythm so that I can mute my signal. Totally cut it out, so that in order to trigger the threshold on the one, I just hit unmute, and I know that my loop is going to be in time. I hope that makes sense. I know it's a little confusing. This wasn't really built for this purpose. It's kind of a hack. So let me just demonstrate it, and hopefully it'll start to make sense. Okay. So here's my empty sample. I've placed it at the beginning of my 32-step sequence. Let's go in here to sample record. I want to record onto this pad. I'm going to mute my guitar and press record. So now as soon as the circuit rhythm hears an input signal, it's going to start recording. And when it gets back to the top of that 32-step sequence, it loops. So let me get like a bass sound going. I'll just record something basic. Here we go. There it is. And there's my loop. I recorded into that empty sample, and now it triggers at the top of my pattern. And since it's saved to this track, I can mix it. I can turn the volume up or down. That doesn't really do anything. I guess I'm already maxed out. But I can go back into my next track and loop again. So let's go in here to sample record. Let's pick our next slot because that's the one we selected here. And let's record into this. I'll do a guitar part this time. Here we go. A little quiet, so let's go into our mixer here. Let's turn this up. Let's say we also want to pan it. What we can do is come over here and pan it to the left. We can send it to the effects. Let's send it to some reverb. Let's record something else. So now I have this sample slot. I'm going to arm that for recording. Let's record a little lead part here. There it is. A little loud. Let's come in here to our mixer, turn it down. Oops, I've just panned it. Put that up to center. Pan it right if we want. Let's say we want to throw some delay on here. And there it is. And of course we can solo over top of it if we want. So that's a basic application for live looping on the circuit rhythm. The process is a little tricky to get used to because you need to remember which sample slot you've chosen, where to record into. You have to remember that threshold, not to trigger it early. And the other thing is that your timing has to be really, really tight when you're recording into this thing, because like I said, there's no quantized start or anything like that. It's not going to help you out. So it's a good way to practice your timing if you need to do that. And yeah, it's kind of a little known feature, I guess I would say. I haven't seen too many people talk about this. That being said, the circuit rhythm is a great sampler, and I really like it for that. It's not meant to be a looper, so I wouldn't purchase this thing expecting like an RC505 or a black box or something like that. Think of it as a fun portable sampler that you can live loop into if you are really committed to kind of learning the method and okay with it being a little funky. Anyways, that's it. Short one today. Live looping on the circuit rhythm. Let me know in the comments if you know of any tricks to make this easier, or if there's anything I missed in how to kind of hack this to work the way I wanted it to. Thanks for stopping by. I will see you soon.